Welcome back, story lovers. If you missed part one of The One Night Stand, go catch up now. Elena's world of buried secrets at her corrupt law firm collided with Adrian's grim forensic nightmares in a night of raw passion that felt like fate, or something far more dangerous. That cliffhanger left us hanging. Then one morning. Well, buckle up because we're diving deeper into the web. In this part, old wounds reopen, chance encounters turn sinister, and the line between love and peril blurs even further. Remember, no heroes with hardware here, just hearts racing, twists tightening, and emotions that hit like a storm. Let's continue. Then one morning, everything shattered. Elena remembered it like a scar that never fully healed, the kind that aches on rainy days. She had woken up in Daniel's sleek apartment, the city skyline mocking her through floor-to-ceiling windows. He was already dressed, tie-knotted perfectly, scrolling through his phone with that distant smile she once mistook for affection. "Elena, babe," he'd said, not looking up, "we need to talk about your enthusiasm at work." She'd been glowing that day, fresh from a late-night dig into the firm's files. As a paralegal, she handled the grunt work, but her journalism roots had her sniffing out inconsistencies like a bloodhound. Offshore accounts vanishing like smoke, clients listed as ghost entities with no real addresses, wire transfers funneled through shell companies that screamed money laundering. She'd confided in Daniel over dinner the night before, her eyes alight with the thrill of uncovering truth. "This could be huge," she'd whispered, leaning across the table, her hand on his. "We could expose it together, like partners in crime, well, the good kind." Daniel's laugh had been sharp, like glass cracking. Now, in the morning light, he set his phone down and fixed her with those cold blue eyes. "Partners? Elena, you're sweet but naive. That huge thing? It's my job. Those accounts? They're how the firm and I stay afloat. You think the partners care about ethics? This city runs on secrets, and you're about to blow mine sky high with your little crusader act." Her stomach dropped. "Your job? Daniel, you knew? All this time while I was slaving away thinking we were building a future?" Tears pricked her eyes, but she blinked them back, her voice steady despite the heartbreak clawing at her chest. Intimacy with him had always been calculated, passionate in the moment, but hollow after. Nights where she'd trace the lines of his jaw, whispering dreams of a life beyond the firm, only for him to roll over and check emails. Now, it all felt like a lie. Every touch tainted. He stood, adjusting his cufflinks. "We were building a future, a rich one. But if you go digging deeper, you'll ruin us both. Sign the NDA I left on the counter or we're done." The door clicked shut behind him, leaving her alone with the paper that sealed her silence. That was the morning her engagement ring felt like a shackle. She flung it across the room, the diamond chipping the wall like her fractured trust. Heartbreak wasn't just emotional. It was a physical ache, a void where love had been. From that day, Elena buried her fire, caring for her father through his final days, trading her byline for legal briefs. But the scar remained, festering. Back in the now, Elena stirred under the rumpled sheets of her own bed, the memory fading like a bad dream. But it wasn't a dream. It was the ghost that had driven her to that bar the night before. Adrian's apartment, his touch, the way his hands had mapped her body with a reverence Daniel never had. She sat up, heart pounding, the city humming outside her window. It was barely dawn, but sleep was a lost cause. Her phone buzzed, a text from Mara, her best friend and lifeline. "Girl, you okay? That bar pic you sent looked intense. Spill!" Elena smiled faintly, typing back, "Just needed a distraction. Complicated night." Complicated didn't cover it. As she padded to the kitchen for coffee, her eyes caught the mirror, disheveled hair, lips still swollen from kisses, a faint mark on her neck. Intimacy with Adrian had been electric, a storm of need and release that left her feeling alive for the first time in years. But then, that folder on his table. Homicide unidentified female. The blurred photo, the initials, LM, Sophie 14. It nagged at her, a thread pulling at the edges of her firm's secrets. She shook it off, or tried to. Work awaited, and ignoring the corruption wasn't an option anymore. The threatening note, "Some truths are better left buried," still burned in her mind. As she dressed in her power suit, steeling herself for another day of feigned ignorance, her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Elena Vargas?" "Yes?" Her voice was cautious, the paralegal's poise kicking in. "This is Detective Clara Voss, City PD. We need to speak about a case involving your firm, Hargrove and Associates. Can you come down to the station this afternoon?" Elena's blood ran cold. How did they know? "What case?" I'm just a paralegal." "Trust me, Ms. Vargas, you're more involved than you think. 2 p.m., don't be late." The line went dead. Suspense coiled in her gut like a serpent. Was this about the ghost clients? The money trails? Or the Jane Doe? She grabbed her bag and headed out, the rain mirroring her unease. Little did she know, across town, Adrian was unraveling the same thread. Adrian hadn't slept either. The lipstick-stained glass from last night sat on his nightstand like a talisman, or a clue. Elena's scent lingered on his sheets, a mix of jasmine and vulnerability that clashed with the sterile chill of his world. Their night together replayed in fragments. Her laughter as his shirt button popped free, the way she arched against him, whispering, "Don't stop," like a plea. It wasn't just physical. There'd been a moment, post-climax, when their eyes locked, and he saw her soul, wounded but fierce. For a man who dealt in death, it was a rare spark of life. But now, doubt crept in. Who was she, really? And why did her face haunt him beyond the passion? Dr. Han, his colleague, burst into the lab, tablet in hand. "Adrian, you look like hell. Voss called, says the ring's engraving cracked a cold case. LM stands for Lydia Monroe, a junior accountant at Hargrove and Associates. Killed 5 years ago, ruled suicide by overdose. But the date, Sophie 14? That's her wedding anniversary. And get this, the tattoo? Half erased, but forensics pulled it. A delicate lotus flower, matching one in an old photo of Lydia." Adrian's pulse quickened. Hargrove and Associates. The firm tied to that whistleblower death he'd obsessed over. Lydia was the one who tipped off the feds about the laundering, right? Before her suicide? Han nodded grimly. "Exactly. And the Jane Doe? Preliminary tox screen shows the same drug cocktail as Lydia's. Overdose staged as accident. This isn't random, it's a message. Someone's cleaning house." Adrian's mind raced to Elena. Paralegal at Hargrove? She'd mentioned her job vaguely, but the pieces fit too neatly. Their meeting at the bar? Coincidence? Or had she been watching him, the investigator circling her firm's sins? Heartbreak twisted in his chest. The intimacy they'd shared now felt like a trap. Yet a part of him ached for her touch, the way she'd curled into him, trusting in the dark. Was it all an act? He grabbed his coat. "I need to talk to Voss and keep this between us for now." The station was a hive of activity, rain-slicked uniforms milling about. Adrian arrived early, flashing his badge, and was ushered into Voss's office. The detective, a no-nonsense woman in her 40s with sharp features and a perpetual scowl, slid a file across the desk. "Your Jane Doe just got a name, Sophia Reyes. Waitress, but moonlighted as a bookkeeper for shady clients. Last seen arguing with a suit from Hargrove. And here's the kicker. Her phone records show calls to a paralegal there. Elena Vargas." Adrian froze. Elena. Vargas. The name hit like a gut punch. Voss eyed him curiously. "You know her?" He lied smoothly, years of forensics training kicking in. Just a hunch. I've crossed paths with Hargrove cases before. Inside, turmoil raged. Love or lust from one night, now poisoned by suspicion. Had Elena used him? Seduced the investigator to throw him off? But her eyes in the morning, soft and regretful. No, it couldn't be. Or could it? The emotional whiplash left him reeling, a man torn between desire and duty. Meanwhile, Elena arrived at the station, her heels clicking like a countdown. Voss greeted her briskly. "Ms. Vargas, thanks for coming. This is about Sophia Reyes. Ring any bells?" Elena's heart stuttered. "Sophia? She delivered files to the firm once. Why?" Voss leaned in. "She's dead. Strangled, then overdosed to look like suicide, and your name's in her contacts marked urgent whistleblower help. Care to explain?" Panic surged, but Elena played it cool, her journalist instincts flaring. "I don't know what you're talking about. I handle paperwork, not secrets." But inside, the pieces connected. Sophia must have been feeding info on the ghost clients, and if the firm found out... Elena's mind flashed to Adrian. His folder. Was he involved? The thought of betrayal stung, mirroring Daniel's knife twist all over again. Yet a forbidden warmth bloomed, remembering his arms around her, safe amid the chaos. As Voss pressed, the door opened. Adrian stepped in, files in hand. Their eyes met across the room, shock, recognition, a spark of last night's fire amid the frost. "You," he breathed, almost inaudibly. "Elena?" Voss glanced between them. "You two know each other?" Elena swallowed hard, her voice a whisper. "It's complicated." Adrian's gaze hardened, but beneath it, something softer flickered. Longing, confusion, fear. The air thickened with unspoken questions. Was this reunion fate's cruel joke, or the start of a deeper alliance? Little did they know, back at the firm, Daniel was watching her empty desk, a sinister smile playing on his lips. He'd seen the station subpoena, and he had plans that would drag them all into the abyss. The air in Detective Voss's office hung heavy, thick with the scent of stale coffee and unspoken accusations. Elena's pulse thundered in her ears as Adrian stood frozen in the doorway, his dark eyes boring into hers, a storm of recognition, hurt, and something dangerously close to longing. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows, making his jawline sharper, his frame more imposing. She remembered that jaw under her fingertips just hours ago, the way it tensed in pleasure. Now it clenched in restraint. Voss broke the silence, her voice like gravel. "Well, this just got interesting. Dr. Adrian Hale, forensics expert on the Reyes case, and Elena Vargas, our person of interest. Small world, huh? Sit down, both of you. We need to hash this out." Adrian moved like a shadow, taking the chair across from Elena, his knee brushing hers accidentally. Or was it? Under the table. The contact sent a jolt through her, a forbidden spark amid the chill. She pulled away, crossing her arms, but her body betrayed her, nipples tightening under her blouse at the memory of his mouth on her skin. "Focus, Elena." This wasn't a bedroom. It was a battlefield. Voss slid photos across the desk. Sophia's bruised neck, the engraved ring, wire transfer logs from Hargrove and Associates. Sophia wasn't just a waitress. She was laundering small sums for your firm, ghost clients, offshore shells, and she called you, Ms. Vargas, 3 times the week before she died, said you were her inside ally. Ring any bells now? Elena's throat tightened. The truth clawed at her. Sophia had approached her months ago, a nervous woman with wide eyes and a USB drive of irregularities. Elena had listened, her old journalistic fire igniting, but fear had won. She'd advised Sophia to go to the authorities, not her. She delivered takeout once. Maybe she got my number from the firm directory, but I swear I didn't know about any of this." Lies tasted bitter, but the alternative, admitting she'd ignored a cry for help, would shatter her. Adrian's gaze never left her. Detective, the tox report on Sophia matches Lydia Monroe's exactly. Same drug mix, same injection site. And Lydia? She was Hargrove's accountant, pushed out a window after threatening to blow the whistle. This isn't coincidence. It's a pattern. Someone's tying up loose ends. Voss nodded, tapping a pen. Agreed. And now, Ms. Vargas, you're the loose end. Your ex-fiancé, Daniel Hargrove, yes, the senior partner, has an airtight alibi for both deaths. But his financials, messy. Care to comment? Daniel. The name was a dagger, twisting old wounds. Elena's mind flashed to that morning of betrayal, his cold dismissal echoing, "Sign the NDA, or we're done." Heartbreak flooded back, hot and unrelenting. The intimacy they'd shared now poisoned, every loving whisper revealed as manipulation. She'd loved him once, or thought she had, pouring her soul into late-night talks and tender mornings. But it was all a facade, a ladder to power. Tears welled, but she blinked them away. Daniel and I, it's over. He proposed, but I saw through him. The firm's dirty, but I'm not part of it. Adrian leaned forward, his voice low, laced with suspicion. Then why the bar last night? Why me? Were you scouting the investigator, sniffing around your secrets? His words stung, but beneath the accusation, vulnerability flickered, like he cared about the answer more than he should. Elena's cheeks burned. Scouting? I didn't even know who you were until I saw that folder. I went to the bar to forget. Forget Daniel, forget the threats, forget everything. And you were just a stranger who made me feel seen. Her voice cracked, the emotional arc bending toward raw honesty. In that moment, the room faded. It was just them, the pull between suspicion and desire thickening the air. She wanted to reach for him, to trace the line of his collarbone like she had in the dark, but Voss cleared her throat. Save the drama for therapy. Look, I need you both on this. Hale, run deeper forensics on the ring. Any prints? Vargas, you're on administrative leave from Hargrove. And if either of you withholds, your accessories. Voss stood, dismissing them. Watch your backs. These killers don't play nice. Outside, the rain had eased to a drizzle, the city streets slick and reflective. Elena and Adrian stepped into the parking lot, tension crackling like static. He grabbed her arm gently, spinning her to face him. Elena, if you're lying, I'm not. She yanked free, but her eyes softened, tracing his lips. Adrian, last night, it wasn't a game. For the first time in years, I let go. With you, it felt real. But now, this mess, it's swallowing us both. He searched her face, the heartbreak in his own eyes mirroring hers. Adrian's past was a graveyard of losses, his sister's unsolved disappearance years ago, driving him into forensics like a man possessed. Intimacy had always been fleeting for him, a distraction from the dead. But Elena? She'd cracked his walls, her body yielding under his with a trust that terrified him. Real? Then tell me everything. About Daniel, the firm, Sophia, or I walk away, for good. The plea hung between them, an emotional twist that tugged at her heart. She nodded, leading him to her car. Not here. My place. It's safer. Elena's apartment was a sanctuary of organized chaos. Books on journalism stacked high, her father's old photo on the mantel watching over her. She brewed tea, hands shaking, as Adrian paced like a caged panther. Start from the beginning, he said, his voice gentler now, the investigator yielding to the man. She sank onto the couch, pulling her knees up. Daniel and I met at the firm. He was charming, ambitious. I was fresh out of journalism school, sidelined by Dad's illness. He promised the world, nights of passion, whispered futures. Her voice dropped, intimate details spilling out like confessions. Our first time, it was fireworks. He knew exactly how to touch me, make me feel desired. But it was all control. When I found the files, the laundering, the bribes, he turned on me, called me naive, threatened to ruin my career. I called off the engagement, but the heartbreak? It gutted me. I haven't trusted anyone since. Adrian sat beside her, close enough to feel his warmth. I get it. Loss carves you hollow. He hesitated, then opened up, his emotional arc unfolding in vulnerability. My sister Mia vanished 10 years ago, suspected trafficking ties to a big firm. Sound familiar? I became this because I couldn't save her. Women like Lydia, Sophia, they remind me of her. And you, last night when you looked at me, I saw Mia's fire in you. It scared me, made me want more than one night. The admission hung heavy, a bridge of shared pain. Elena reached for his hand, their fingers intertwining. I'm sorry. For your sister. For dragging you into this. The touch ignited something primal. She leaned in, her breath mingling with his. Suspense built not from danger outside, but the danger of their hearts colliding. He cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek. Elena. Their lips met. Soft at first, a tentative exploration born of need, but passion surged, the kiss deepening, tongues dancing in a rhythm that echoed their first night. She straddled him on the couch, hands fumbling with his shirt, exposing the taut muscles she'd worshipped before. Intimacy bloomed fierce and urgent. He trailed kisses down her neck, eliciting gasps that filled the room. We shouldn't, he murmured against her skin, but his body contradicted, hips grinding into hers. We have to, she whispered, guiding his hand under her skirt, the fabric hiking up as she rocked against him. Heartbreak from their pasts fueled the fire, each touch a defiance, a reclaiming. He entered her slowly, their eyes locked, breaths sinking in a symphony of moans. It was more than sex. It was emotional catharsis, waves of pleasure crashing with tears of release. She cried out his name, nails digging into his back, as climax ripped through them both, leaving them tangled and spent. In the afterglow, wrapped in his arms, Elena's head on his chest, reality intruded. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Stop digging or join Sophia. D. Daniel. Panic flared. He's watching us. Adrian's face hardened, but he held her tighter. We're in this together now. But we need proof. Across town, Daniel Hargrove swirled scotch in a crystal glass, his reflection in the window a mask of calculated rage. Elena's leave? The subpoena? It reeked of betrayal. He'd loved her once in his twisted way, her body a prize, her mind a tool. But she'd rejected him, the ring flung like a gauntlet. Now, watching her with that forensic fool via a planted tracker on her phone, jealousy boiled, a heartbroken monster awakened. You think you can escape me, Elena? He muttered, dialing a contact. Time to tighten the noose. Get me dirt on Hale, make it personal. Back at Elena's, as night fell, Adrian examined the threatening text. This is escalation. Voss needs to see it. But before they could move, a knock echoed. Sharp, insistent. Elena froze. Who? Adrian peered through the peephole. Mara, Elena's friend, stood there, soaked and frantic. Elena? Open up. I just saw Daniel at the firm. He's furious, ranting about you and some cop, and he mentioned a cleanup crew for loose ends. Mara burst in, hugging Elena tightly. Girl, I overheard him on a call. Something about erasing the paralegal's traces permanently. You need to run. Suspense peaked, hearts racing anew. Adrian's mind whirred. Cleanup? Like the overdoses? But then, a twist. Mara's eyes darted nervously, too nervously. Was she loyal or another pawn in Daniel's game? Elena clutched Adrian's hand, the intimacy of moments ago now a lifeline. What do we do? He pulled her close, voice steady amid the storm. We fight back, but first we expose him. Together. Little did they know, Daniel's scheme was already in motion. A forged document planting evidence that Elena was the killer, framing her for Sophia's death. And as sirens wailed distantly, the real danger closed in. Not with violence, but with a web of deceit that would test their budding love to the breaking point. The knock echoed again, sharper this time, like a judge's gavel demanding entry. Elena's breath hitched, her hand frozen on the doorknob. Adrian stood behind her, body tense, one arm protectively around her waist, a gesture that felt both reassuring and possessive, his warmth seeping through her thin blouse. Mara hovered nearby, wringing her hands, her makeup smudged from the rain, eyes darting like a cornered animal. "Elena, it's probably nothing," Mara whispered, but her voice wavered, betraying the lie. Adrian leaned in, his lips brushing Elena's ear in a moment of intimate reassurance. "Stay behind me. If it's trouble, we bolt." His breath was hot, stirring memories of their couch entanglement just minutes ago. The way he'd filled her, their bodies sinking in desperate harmony. Now that passion was armor, but fragility lurked beneath. Elena nodded, heart pounding, and cracked the door. No one. Just the empty hallway, dimly lit by a flickering bulb, shadows stretching like accusing fingers. "Hello," she called, voice trembling. Silence answered, broken only by the distant hum of the city below. Adrian pushed past her, stepping out to scan the corridor, empty. But on the welcome mat lay a small envelope, unmarked, sealed with wax that bore a faint imprint. A lotus flower, half erased, just like Lydia's tattoo. He snatched it up, ushering them back inside and bolting the door. "This isn't random." Tearing it open, he revealed a single photo. Elena and Sophia, laughing over coffee months ago, time-stamped. On the back, scrawled in red ink, "Allies die together. Choose wisely." Elena's knees buckled. She sank against the wall, the heartbreak crashing anew. Sophia, vibrant, trusting Sophia, had reached out to her, and she'd turned away, too scared after Daniel's threats. Guilt twisted like a knife, tears spilling hot down her cheeks. "I could have saved her. If I'd just listened." Adrian knelt before her, cupping her face, thumbs wiping her tears. His eyes, those deep pools of haunted intensity, softened with empathy. "Hey, don't. You couldn't know." But doubt flickered in his gaze. Was this photo proof she'd been deeper in than she admitted? The emotional arc between them strained, trust teetering on the edge of a chasm. Mara paced, biting her lip. "This is insane. Daniel's lost it. I swear, Elena, when I overheard him, he was on the phone with some fixer, talking about framing you for embezzlement or worse. You have to go to Voss now." Elena looked up, searching Mara's face. They'd been friends since college, bonded over late-night rants about dreams deferred. Mara, the aspiring artist, stuck in admin hell at another firm. Elena, the journalist turned paralegal. Intimacy in friendship, shared secrets, wine-fueled confessions, hugs that mended heartbreaks. But now something felt off. Mara's averted eyes, the way her fingers twisted her necklace, a silver chain with a tiny lotus pendant. Coincidence? Or... "Wait," Elena said, standing slowly, wiping her face. "That necklace. Where'd you get it?" Suspense thickened the air, the room shrinking as realization dawned. Mara flushed, touching it defensively. "What? It's just a gift from an old flame." But her voice cracked, the lie evident. Adrian's investigator instincts fired. "Lotus, like the tattoo, like the envelope seal. Mara, talk. Now." The twist hit like lightning. Mara backed away, tears welling. "Okay, fine. Daniel gave it to me. Not as a lover, God, no, but as payment. He approached me weeks ago, said he knew about my debts, my failed gallery show. Offered to clear them if I kept tabs on you, Elena. Fed you little bits of innocent gossip to keep you off the big secrets. I didn't know about the murders. I thought it was just corporate espionage. Betrayal slammed into Elena, a heartbreak deeper than Daniel's because this was friendship, the one pure thing in her fractured life. You spied on me. All those nights I cried to you about him, and you were his puppet? Her voice broke, emotional turmoil ripping through her like a tempest. She clutched her chest, sobs racking her body. Intimacy shattered, the trust they'd built over years crumbling to dust. Mara reached out, pleading. Elena, please! He threatened me too. Said if I didn't, he'd expose my art forgeries, stupid mistakes from my broke days. I love you, that's why I came here tonight, to warn you before it's too late. But the damage was done. Elena recoiled, Adrian stepping between them like a shield. Get out, Elena whispered, voice raw. Before I call Voss myself. Mara fled, the door slamming behind her, leaving a void of silence. Adrian turned to Elena, pulling her into his arms. She resisted at first, body rigid with pain, but then melted, burying her face in his chest. Everyone lies, she murmured, the words muffled against his shirt. His heartbeat steadied her, a rhythmic anchor in the chaos. Not me, he vowed, tilting her chin up. Their eyes locked, vulnerability mirroring vulnerability. Elena, I can't lose you to this. Last night, today, it's more than a fling. You're under my skin. The confession hung, an emotional pivot that deepened their arc. He kissed her forehead, then her lips, gentle, exploratory, not the frantic passion of before, but a slow burn of connection. She responded, hands sliding up his back, pulling him closer. They moved to the bedroom, shedding clothes like old skins. Intimacy unfolded tenderly. Adrian laying her on the bed, worshipping her body with kisses that traced scars, literal from a childhood fall, metaphorical from Daniel's cruelty. You're beautiful, he whispered, entering her with deliberate slowness, their movements a dance of healing. She wrapped her legs around him, gasps turning to moans as pleasure built, layered with tears. Climax came as a wave of release, emotional and physical, leaving them entwined, breaths sinking. In his arms, Elena felt seen, not as a suspect or a victim, but as a woman worthy of love. But reality intruded with a buzz, Adrian's phone. Voss, Hale, get down here now. We've got a warrant on Hargrove, but it's bad. Evidence just surfaced. Forged docs showing Vargas transferred funds to Sophia's account. She's being framed. Elena's blood iced. Daniel's plan, in motion. Adrian dressed quickly, helping her. We'll fight this. Together. The station was a frenzy, officers buzzing like bees. Voss met them in the bullpen, face grim. Daniel's slick. He planted digital trails, emails from your Hargrove account, Elena, authorizing consulting fees to Sophia. Timestamps match the week she died. It's airtight unless we crack his server. Elena paced, panic rising. It's fake. I never touched those accounts. But doubt crept in. Had Mara helped forge them? The betrayal stung fresh, a secondary heartbreak compounding the first. Adrian squeezed her hand. Forensics can prove it. Let me analyze the metadata. He dove into the evidence room, screens glowing as he worked. Hours blurred. Elena watched from the sidelines, Voss grilling her on details. Then Adrian emerged, triumphant yet troubled. Got it. The IP traces back to a burner in Daniel's office. But there's more. A hidden file, audio of Daniel and Lydia arguing about the laundering. He says, if you talk, you'll end up like the others. And Mia, my sister, her name's in there. She interned at Hargrove years ago, vanished after confronting him. But suspense escalated. Voss's radio crackled. Detective, anonymous tip, Vargas is fleeing the city, APB out. Daniel's countermove smearing her further. Elena's phone lit up, an unknown video. Her and Adrian's intimate moment on the couch, filmed through the window, blackmail. Share our bed, and the world sees your affair with the investigator, resign quietly or ruin us all. D. Heartbreak peaked. Elena's privacy violated, their passion weaponized. He won't stop, she sobbed, clinging to Adrian. Adrian's face darkened, resolve hardening. Then neither will we. Voss, raid the firm, now. As the raid team mobilized, Daniel smirked into the darkness, but cracks showed, sweat beading on his brow, hands trembling slightly. Elena's rejection had unhinged him. What started as ambition twisted into obsession. Love? No. Possession. He'd framed her not just to silence, but to reclaim, to make her beg. "Come back to me, Elena," he whispered to the empty room, "or watch it all burn." Back at the station, Elena and Adrian shared a quiet moment in a holding room, hands linked. "No matter what," he said, kissing her knuckles, "I believe in you." But as Voss burst in, "Team's in position, but Daniel's gone. Left a note. Game's just beginning." The door to their alliance rattled, a new twist. The note included a photo of Mara's necklace, bloodied. Was she the next victim, or bait? Elena gasped, fear and guilt colliding. "Mara, oh God!" Adrian pulled her close, but doubt lingered. Could they trust anyone, even each other, as the noose tightened? Little did they know. Daniel's escape wasn't solo. He'd enlisted a ghost from Elena's past. Her father's old colleague, a retired lawyer with dirt on everyone. The conspiracy widened, pulling them toward an emotional abyss where love might be the deadliest illusion. The holding room at the station felt like a pressure cooker, the air thick with the metallic tang of fear and the faint lingering scent of Elena's jasmine perfume, now a bittersweet reminder of their stolen intimacies. Elena stared at the photo of Mara's necklace, the bloodstains stark against the silver lotus, her fingers trembling as she traced the image. Guilt gnawed at her insides like a relentless beast. Mara, for all her betrayal, had been her rock through the darkest days. The late-night confessions after Daniel's proposal, the hugs that pieced together her shattered heart. "Is she dead?" Elena whispered, voice cracking, the emotional weight pressing down until tears blurred her vision. Adrian knelt beside her, his hand enveloping hers in a grip that was both tender and unyielding. His touch grounded her, a lifeline in the storm, but his own face was a mask of turmoil, eyes shadowed by the fresh wound of discovering his sister Mia's link to Hargrove. "We don't know yet," he said softly, his thumb stroking her knuckles in rhythmic reassurance. "Voss is tracing the photo's origin. It could be a fake, a scare tactic, Daniel's playing mind games." But beneath his steady tone, vulnerability seeped through. The man who'd dissected corpses for a living now grappled with the ghosts of the living, his heart laid bare by this woman who'd stormed into his solitary world. Detective Voss burst through the door, tablet in hand, her expression a storm cloud of frustration and urgency. "It's not blood, paint, actually. Stage blood from a theater supply. The photo was emailed from a proxy server, but we cracked it. IP leads to a burner phone registered near Mara's apartment. She's alive but spooked. Sent me a message. Daniel's forcing me to lie. Help Elena. He's got leverage on everyone." Voss paused, eyeing them both. "This changes things. Mara's not the villain, just another pawn. But Daniel? He's escalating. We found his suicide note forgery for you, Elena, dated for tomorrow. He's planning to make it look like you cracked under the pressure." Elena's breath hitched, a fresh wave of heartbreak crashing over her. The intimacy of her life with Mara, shared dreams, whispered vulnerabilities, now tainted by coercion but redeemable. Hope flickered, fragile as a candle in wind. "Leverage? What does he have on her?" But before Voss could answer, Adrian's phone buzzed, a secure line from the morgue lab. His face paled as he listened, then hung up, turning to Elena with eyes wide. The hidden file from the raid? It wasn't just audio. There's video. Grainy, but clear enough. Mia, my sister, meeting Daniel in a Hargrove conference room 10 years ago. She's handing him documents, arguing. Then he grabs her arm and the feed cuts. Timestamp, the night she vanished. The revelation struck Adrian like a thunderbolt, his emotional arc fracturing into shards of rage and grief. He staggered back, punching the wall with a muffled thud, knuckles whitening. That son of a... He was involved. All these years I thought it was trafficking random. But Daniel, he took her from me. Tears streamed down his face, the stoic facade crumbling, exposing the raw, heartbroken boy beneath. Elena rose, wrapping her arms around him, her own pain echoing his. Adrian, I'm so sorry. We'll find out what happened. I promise. Their embrace tightened, bodies pressing close in shared sorrow, the station's cold sterility fading as warmth bloomed between them. Voss cleared her throat awkwardly. Personal later. We need a plan. Elena, your bait. Go back to your apartment, make it look like you're alone and breaking. We'll wire you, have eyes on. Adrian, you disappear to throw him off, then circle back. Mara's meeting me at a safe house. She'll testify if we protect her. As they parted, Adrian pulled Elena aside into a dimly lit hallway, the fluorescent hum underscoring the tension. This is dangerous, he murmured, his hands framing her face, thumbs brushing her cheeks. I can't lose you too. The confession hung heavy, an emotional twist that deepened their bond. From one night's spark to something profound, forged in fire. She leaned into him, lips finding his in a kiss that started soft, exploratory, but ignited into desperation. Tongues tangled, breaths mingling, her back against the wall as his body pinned hers, hips grinding instinctively. Intimacy surged, a defiant act amid chaos. His hand slipped under her shirt, caressing the curve of her breast, eliciting a gasp that echoed softly. Adrian. Here? She whispered, but her legs parted slightly, inviting. Not here, he growled, pulling back with effort, eyes dark with restrained hunger. But tonight, if we make it. The promise lingered, a thread of desire weaving through the fear. Elena's apartment loomed like a trap as she entered, the weight of the hidden mic pressing against her skin like a second heartbeat. She moved deliberately, scattering pill bottles on the table for show, Daniel's forged narrative of despair. Her phone, monitored by the team, buzzed, a text from Daniel. I know you're scared, love. Come back to me. The firm's yours if you forget this madness. The endearment twisted like a knife, dredging up memories of their intimate past. The way he'd murmur it during lovemaking, bodies slick and entangled, only for it to ring hollow now. Heartbreak resurfaced, a venomous echo. How she'd once believed in his touch, in the futures he'd painted with lies. She typed back, voice steady for the recorders. It's over, Daniel. Leave me alone. But inside, suspense coiled. Would he take the bait? Minutes stretched into eternity, the clock ticking like a bomb. Then, a soft knock. Elena's pulse raced. She approached, peeking through the peephole. Not Daniel, a disheveled woman in a hoodie, face obscured. Elena? It's me. Mara. Relief flooded her, but caution held. Mara, open the door slow. As Mara entered, shedding the hood, her eyes were red-rimmed, bruises blooming on her arms, defensive marks. He came to my place after the raid, Mara sobbed, collapsing into Elena's arms. Tied me up, staged the photo to scare you into running, said if I didn't help frame you, he'd expose my forgeries to the art world. Elena, forgive me. I was terrified. The embrace was raw, emotional reconciliation pouring out in tears and apologies. Elena held her tight, the intimacy of sisterhood mending, if scarred. I do. But tell me everything. About Daniel, the leverage. Mara pulled back, wiping her face. He's obsessed. Not just with the money, with you. After you left him, he spiraled. The murders? Lydia found out about his side deals, bribing officials for client immunity. Sophia was next, sniffing too close. And Mia? God, Elena, he bragged about it once, drunk. Said she was too idealistic, like you. Confronted him on ethics, so he arranged her disappearance. Sold her info to traffickers to shut her up. Horror gripped Elena, but before she could process, the door burst open. Daniel, wild-eyed, a syringe glinting in his hand, not for violence, but for the staged overdose. "Elena, my love," he crooned, voice unhinged. "Time to end this charade. You'll write the note, and we'll be together forever, in infamy or peace." Suspense peaked, heart racing. Voss's team was outside, but delayed by a roadblock Daniel must have set. Elena backed away, mic active. "Daniel, stop! This isn't love, it's madness!" Mara lunged, tackling him, the syringe skittering across the floor. Struggle ensued, grappling, shouts, no weapons but raw desperation. Daniel overpowered Mara, slamming her against the wall, but Elena grabbed a lamp, swinging it to crack his knee. He howled, crumpling. Sirens wailed closer. Voss and team stormed in, cuffing him. "You're done, Hargrove," Voss snarled, reading rights. But as they dragged him out, Daniel locked eyes with Elena, a twisted smile. "You think this ends me? The firm's bigger than one man. Ask your father's old friend, Judge Harlan. He's the real puppet master." The twist landed like a bombshell. Elena's father's colleague, the kindly lawyer who'd visited during her dad's illness, offering advice that kept her at Hargrove? Betrayal layered upon betrayal. A heartbreak that reached into her childhood grief. No, Harlan? He was like family. Tears flowed, the emotional arc bending toward despair. Adrian burst in then, having circled back, pulling her into his arms amid the chaos. "It's over. For now." Their reunion kiss was fervent, bodies colliding in relief, hands roaming possessively. But in the aftermath, as Mara was checked by medics, Adrian's phone rang, anonymous, a video file. Mia, alive, in a dingy room, pleading, "Adrian, Daniel lied. Harlan has me. Help." Adrian's world shattered anew, joy and terror colliding. "She's alive?" Elena held him as he sank to his knees, sobs racking his frame. Their love, tested, emerged stronger, but the conspiracy's roots ran deeper, Harlan's shadow looming. As Daniel was hauled away, ranting about the judge's protection, Elena and Adrian shared a quiet moment on the apartment floor, Mara's grateful nod from the couch. "We did it," she whispered, but Adrian's eyes, fixed on the video, held doubt. Was Mia's plea real, or another layer of deception? Harlan's involvement twisted the knife. Elena's father's trust betrayed, her own path to the firm manipulated from the start. Little did they know, Harlan was already moving, summoning a cleanup team, not for murder, but to erase digital trails and frame Adrian as corrupt. And as Elena leaned into Adrian, their intimacy a balm, a final text buzzed. From Harlan. "Come see me, Elena, for your father's sake, or lose everything." The veil lifted, but darkness deepened. Trust, love, heartbreak, all hung by a thread. The station's fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets as Elena stared at her phone, Harlan's text searing into her retinas. "Come see me, Elena, for your father's sake, or lose everything." Her finger trembled, the weight of it feeling like the anchor of her entire life. Adrian, still reeling from the video of his sister, pale, pleading in what looked like a dimly lit basement, sat beside her on the cold bench, his arm a steadying force around her shoulders. The medics had cleared Mara, who now huddled with Voss in a corner, recounting details in hushed tones. But Elena's world had narrowed to this moment. This message from a man she'd once trusted like an uncle. "Harlan," she murmured, voice laced with disbelief and dawning horror. "He was at Dad's bedside during the cancer treatments, holding my hand, promising to watch over me." Family, he called us. How could he be part of this? The emotional arc of her life bent painfully. Her father's death had been the first great heartbreak, stripping her of dreams and stability, pushing her into Hargrove's arms under Harlan's guidance. Intimacy in grief. Harlan's stories of her dad's legal battles, the way he'd hug her tight, fatherly and reassuring. Now it all curdled into betrayal, a poison seeping into her veins. Adrian pulled her closer, his chin resting on her head, inhaling the scent of her hair as if it were oxygen. "We go together. Whatever he's hiding, we'll face it. Mia, if that video's real, she might know more about him." His voice cracked on his sister's name, the hope flickering like a fragile flame amid years of extinguished grief. The video replayed in his mind, Mia's eyes, so like his own, wide with fear, whispering, "Harlan's the key. He owns them all." Adrian's heart, long-armored, now ached with possibility and terror. Losing hope again would destroy him. Elena turned in his embrace, her hand cupping his cheek, thumb tracing the stubble she'd once kissed in passion. "I won't let you face this alone. We're in it. Heart, secrets, and all." Voss approached, overhearing. "Harlan's untouchable, retired judge with friends in high places. But if Daniel's spilling on him, we might get a warrant. For now, play along. Go to his office tomorrow, wired up. Adrian, you tail from afar. Mara stays here. She's our corroborator." Mara nodded weakly from across the room, her eyes meeting Elena's in silent apology, their fractured alliance mending through shared pain. Harlan's office was a bastion of old-world power, mahogany walls lined with law tomes, a massive desk overlooking manicured gardens, the air scented with leather and aged scotch. Elena entered alone, as instructed, her heels clicking like a metronome of fate. Harlan rose from his chair, a silver-haired patriarch with kind eyes that now gleamed with calculation. "Elena, my dear, you look just like your father, fierce, unyielding." He gestured to a seat, pouring tea with steady hands, but suspense hummed. Was the mic picking up? Adrian, parked blocks away, clenched his fists, watching the feed. "I've come for answers," Elena said, voice steady despite the storm inside. "Daniel's arrested, spilling about the firm, the murders. And you, Dad's friend? What role did you play in Lydia's death? Sophia's? My path to Hargrove?" Harlan's smile didn't reach his eyes. "Ah, the Crusader awakens. Your father, he was brilliant but naive. He uncovered the firm's early laundering, shell companies for political bribes. I covered for him, pulled strings to keep him employed. In return, he owed me. When cancer took him, I guided you there to honor that debt. But you, Elena, you dug too deep just like him." He leaned forward, voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "The murders? Regrettable necessities. Lydia threatened exposure. Sophia was sloppy. Daniel was my tool, but impulsive. As for Mia," he paused, savoring the twist. "Your Adrian's sister? She interned under me, not Daniel. Confronted me about the bribes. I didn't arrange her disappearance. I relocated her. For safety. She's alive, Elena, in witness protection. But if you push, I'll bury her again." Elena's world tilted, heartbreak exploding in her chest. Her father, not a victim, but complicit? The man she'd idolized, whose bedside vigils with Harlan she'd cherished as intimate bonds of family? "You lied to him, to me, all those advice sessions. You manipulated us." Tears stung, but she held firm, the mic capturing every damning word. Emotional turmoil raged, grief for her father's tarnished legacy, betrayal from the man who'd filled the void. Harlan chuckled softly. Manipulation, protection. The firm's web is vast. Senators, CEOs. Expose it, and your world crumbles. Sign this. He slid a document across. A confession absolving him, framing Daniel solely and binding Elena to silence. For your father's sake. Or lose the inheritance he left, tied to my trusts. Before she could respond, the door flew open, Voss and team, warrants in hand. Judge Harlan, you're under arrest for conspiracy, obstruction, and more. Chaos erupted, Harlan lunging for a hidden button, alarms blaring, but Adrian burst in from the shadows, tackling him to the ground. For Mia, he snarled, cuffing the older man with Voss's help. In the melee, Elena rushed to Adrian, their embrace fierce amid the takedown. He said Mia's alive, in protection. But he lied about Dad. He was involved. Adrian's face crumpled, joy for his sister warring with sorrow for Elena's loss. We'll verify. And your dad, he loved you. That's what matters. Their kiss was brief but electric, a spark of love amid the storm. But as Harlan was dragged away, smirking, he dropped the bomb. Oh, one more thing, Elena. That one-night stand. Adrian didn't find you by chance. I sent him your way, knew his Mia obsession would hook him to the case. Fate? Hardly. I orchestrated it all. The twist detonated, suspense fracturing into agony. Adrian recoiled, eyes wide with shock. What? No! Elena, But doubt seeded, their intimacy now questioned. Was their passion genuine, or a puppet master's ploy? Elena's heart shattered anew, the emotional arc plummeting. Love, once a sanctuary, now tainted by manipulation. You knew from the start? Adrian shook his head vehemently. I swear I didn't. The bar was random. I needed a drink after a case. Harlan must be lying to divide us. But the seed of uncertainty took root, tears welling as Voss separated them for statements. Hours later, in a safe house with Mara and Voss, Elena paced, Adrian across the room, space between them like a chasm. Mara, bandaged but supportive, squeezed Elena's hand. He's telling the truth. I saw Harlan's notes. He played you both like chess pieces. But the heartbreak lingered. Elena's trust battered by Daniel, Mara, now this. How can I know? Our nights. The way you touched me, it felt real. But if it was all a setup, Adrian crossed to her, pulling her into his arms despite the tension. It was real. Every gasp, every whisper, mine. He kissed her deeply, hands roaming to reaffirm, but she pulled back, conflicted. We need proof. About Mia. About everything. Voss entered then, holding a file. Mia's confirmed alive, testifying from protection. She corroborates. Harlan orchestrated her vanish to silence her, but she escaped his full control. And the bar? Harlan did tip off Adrian anonymously about a lead nearby, hoping to entangle you. But your meeting? Pure chance. He couldn't predict the spark. Relief washed over them. But the emotional twist lingered. Love born of coincidence, but shadowed by design. Adrian held Elena close. See, us. It's ours. Their bond reignited softly. Yet, as dawn broke, a new threat. Voss's phone rang. FBI intercept. Harlan's allies are moving. A hit on Mia's location. And they're coming for Elena's inheritance. Poisoned assets tied to the laundering. If she claims it, she's implicated. Suspense renewed. Hearts sinking. Elena clutched Adrian, but doubt flickered. What now? Harlan's empire crumbles, but the web. Adrian's resolve hardened. We cut it all down, starting with the source. Little did they know, Harlan had one final ace, a hidden recording of Elena's father confessing complicity, ready to blackmail her into recanting. And as Mara received a mysterious call, her voice trembling, Elena, it's not over. Harlan's son, he's coming for revenge. The echoes amplified, pulling them toward a familial showdown that would test love's limits. The safe house, a nondescript suburban bungalow with peeling wallpaper and the faint scent of mothballs, felt like a fragile bubble against the encroaching night. Mara's hand shook as she held the phone, the ringtone slicing through the tension like a scalpel. Elena's heart hammered, her grip on Adrian's hand tightening until her knuckles whitened. "Answer it!" she urged, voice a whisper laced with dread. Adrian nodded, his jaw set, but inside turmoil churned. The joy of Mia's survival now overshadowed by this new phantom from Harlan's lineage. Voss, ever the sentinel, motioned for Mara to put it on speaker, her tablet ready to trace. Mara swallowed hard, swiping accept. "Hello?" A voice slithered through the speaker, young, polished, with an undercurrent of venom that echoed Harlan's authoritative timbre. "Aunt Mara, or should I say traitor? Uncle Harlan sends his regards from lockup. Said you'd spill everything to save your skin." The words dripped with contempt, and Elena's blood ran cold. Harlan's son? She'd heard whispers. Ethan Harlan, the prodigal heir, a sharp-minded prosecutor who'd vanished from the public eye years ago, rumored to be climbing the ranks in the district attorney's office. Mara's face drained of color. "Ethan? What do you want? Your father's done. Arrested for conspiracy. Leave us alone." Laughter, cold and mirthless. "Done? Oh, Aunt Mara, you always were the dramatic one. Father's just the face. I'm the brain. And you? You were supposed to keep Elena in line, feed her the lies about her daddy's honor. But now, with Daniel singing like a canary, I need to clean up. Meet me at the old family estate. Midnight. Come alone, or Elena's inheritance. Poof. And that forensic boyfriend of hers? I'll bury him in scandals deeper than his sister's grave almost was." The line went dead, leaving a vacuum of silence. Voss cursed under her breath. "Ethan Harlan, DA's rising star, clean record. If he's involved, this goes federal. Trace the call. Encrypted but pings to a warehouse near the estate. We move now." Elena's mind reeled, the emotional weight of her father's legacy crashing down anew. Inheritance. Her dad had left her a modest trust, books, a house, memories, but Harlan's manipulations twisted it. Poisoned assets, Voss had said, tied to the laundering. Heartbreak layered upon heartbreak. The man who'd raised her, whose bedtime stories of justice she'd clung to during his illness, now implicated in the web that ensnared her life. Ethan. He was at the funeral, smiling, offering condolences. How deep does this go? Adrian pulled her aside into the dim kitchen, away from prying eyes. "We'll end it tonight. For Mia, for your dad, for us." His hands framed her face, thumbs brushing away an errant tear, and in that touch, vulnerability bloomed. The intimacy they'd shared, raw, redemptive, now felt like the only solid ground. "I love you, Elena. Whatever comes." The confession slipped out, unplanned, an emotional pivot that hung between them like a lifeline. Her breath caught, eyes searching his. "I love you too. God, Adrian, in this mess. You're the only real thing." Their lips met in a kiss that started tender but ignited into fervor, bodies pressing against the counter, hands roaming with urgent need. Elena whispered, "Promise me we'll survive this." "I promise," he vowed, but fate had other plans. The Harlan estate sprawled on the city's outskirts. A sprawling Victorian mansion shrouded in ivy and secrets, its windows like watchful eyes. Voss's team fanned out, infrared scopes scanning for threats, but Elena and Adrian approached the grand entrance alone, as per the demand, wired and resolute. Mara waited in the van, her redemption arc complete in quiet support. The door creaked open before they knocked, revealing Ethan, tall, impeccably suited, with Harlan's sharp features but a younger, more feral edge. "Elena? Adrian? Come in. Family reunion time." The foyer was a museum of opulence. Crystal chandeliers, portraits of stern ancestors, the air heavy with polished wood and malice. Ethan led them to a study, pouring brandy with mock hospitality. "Sit. Let's discuss legacies. Father always said you were the key, Elena, your dad's little secret keeper. He didn't just uncover the laundering, he profited from it. Bribes for case wins, offshore kickbacks. I have the recording, his voice, confessing on his deathbed to Father. Tell Elena to protect the family business." Elena's stomach twisted, suspense coiling as Ethan played the audio, her father's weak voice rasping, "Harlan, the accounts, keep them safe, for her future." Heartbreak detonated. The man she'd idolized, her emotional anchor through abandonment and illness, now a collaborator in corruption. Tears streamed, her body shaking. "No, he wouldn't. He loved me." But doubt festered, the intimate memories of his hugs, his stories now poisoned. Adrian's arm around her steadied, but his own arc strained. Mia's safety hinged on this. "Enough games, Ethan. Mia's in protection. The feds are closing in. Surrender or join your father." Ethan's laugh was bitter. "Mia! Oh, she's here, upstairs. Father hit her better than you think. But release her, and she implicates me too. See, after she confronted me about the firm's ties to political hits, framed as accidents, I had to act. Not kill, mind you, relocate. But now, with you two poking around, she's leverage." He pressed a button and a door opened. Mia, disheveled but alive, gagged and bound, eyes wide with recognition as she saw Adrian. "Brother!" The gag muffled her cry, but Adrian lunged, only for Ethan to activate a silent alarm. Thugs, burly security from the firm's old guard, emerged from shadows, restraining him without harm, just brute force holds. Suspense peaked, hearts racing. Voss's team was outside, but jammed signals delayed them. Elena struggled too, but Ethan grabbed her wrist, pulling her close in a mocking embrace. "You were supposed to be mine, Elena. Father promised, your dad's debt, sealed with marriage, but you chose the morgue rat." The twist sliced deep. Arranged alliance? Elena recoiled, the intimacy of Ethan's proximity revolting, dredging up a forgotten memory, Harlan's suggestions during her grief, praising Ethan's potential. Heartbreak compounded, her life a scripted tragedy. "Let us go, Ethan. This ends now." Adrian held back, roared, "Touch her!" But Mia, freeing her gag in the scuffle, shouted, "He's bluffing! The recording! It's fake! Your father, Elena—" He confessed nothing. Ethan doctored it with AI, using old voicemails. The revelation hit like lightning, emotional arcs realigning. Hope for her dad's honor, rage at Ethan's deceit. Chaos erupted, Mara bursting in with Voss's backup, signal jam broken, tackling a thug. Adrian breaking free, shoving Ethan against the desk. No fists flew wildly, but grapples and shouts filled the air. Elena rushed to Mia, untying her, the sisters in spirit embrace tearful. "Thank you," Mia gasped. "I escaped protection, knew Ethan was coming for me." Voss cuffed Ethan as he snarled, "You think this stops? The inheritance! It's booby-trapped. Claim it, Elena, and audits bury you in laundering charges. Father's will leaves it to me unless you recant everything." But in the frenzy, a hidden safe clicked open. Harlan's recording device, revealing the truth. Her father's real deathbed words, "Elena, expose them. Harlan's poison. I was weak, but you're strong. Forgive me." Tears of relief and sorrow cascaded. Elena clutched the device, her father's voice a balm to the heartbreak. Adrian reunited with Mia, hugging her fiercely, sobs racking them both. The emotional climax of a decade's grief dissolving into joy. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. Elena joined, the trio a knot of healing. Yet, as Ethan was dragged out, spitting venom, a final twist, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown ally in the DA's office. Assets secured. Vargas framed via inheritance transfer. Proceed to phase 2. Suspense renewed. The web wasn't just family. It spanned institutions. In the aftermath, back at the safe house, Elena and Adrian shared a profound intimacy, Mia resting nearby, Mara watching over. But dawn brought dread. Voss entered, face grave. Ethan's talking. Says the inheritance deed was altered last night. Elena, you're now legally tied to the laundering funds. FBI's raiding your accounts. And Mia's protection is compromised. Someone's en route. Adrian's face paled. We fight it. But Elena, holding the recording, felt the abyss yawn. My dad's name. It's all I have left. Little did they know, Ethan's Phase 2 involved a mole in the FBI, Voss's own partner, set to destroy the evidence and frame them all. As sirens wailed distantly, Mara gasped at her phone. Incoming call from Daniel in custody. He says, tell Elena, the real heir is her. The heir's abyss deepened, blood secrets threatening to drown their love. The safe-house kitchen felt like the eye of a hurricane, steam rising from forgotten coffee mugs as Mara's phone lay accusingly on the table. Elena's pulse thundered, her hand still intertwined with Adrian's, Mia's presence, a living miracle, adding a layer of fragile warmth to the tension. Voss paced, her face etched with betrayal's first hints, while Mara replayed the message from Daniel, his voice tinny and desperate through the prison line. Tell Elena, the real heir is her. Check the birth certificate. Harlan lied about everything. End it. For me. The words hung like a guillotine, suspense coiling tighter than ever. Elena's throat tightened, a fresh wave of heartbreak surging. Me? The heir? To what? The corruption? My dad? After that recording, I thought we were free of his shadow. Emotional turmoil clawed at her. The man who'd sung her lullabies, held her through nightmares, now potentially the architect of her downfall. Intimacy and memory, his gentle hugs during chemo, promises of a better world, now fractured by doubt. Adrian squeezed her hand, his eyes fierce with protectiveness. We'll decode it. Daniel's playing his last card, maybe redemption. But inside, Adrian's arc teetered. Mia's return had mended his soul, but losing Elena to this legacy would reopen old wounds. Voss snatched the phone, her voice clipped. I'll verify with the prison logs, but Ethan's mole, my partner Reyes, he's been feeding info. I suspected, but proof? She trailed off as her radio crackled. Detective Voss, FBI raid on safe house coordinates, incoming 5 minutes. Panic erupted. Voss's face paled. Reyes! He's the mole, selling us out to Ethan's allies. Suspense exploded into action. They scrambled, grabbing essentials, Mia clinging to Adrian as they bolted for the back door. The escape was a blur. Tires screeching down rain-slicked roads, Voss driving like a demon. Elena in the passenger seat clutching a hidden drive with the real deathbed recording. Head to the federal courthouse, Voss barked. If we get there, I can subpoena the inheritance docs directly. Bypass the mole. Adrian, in the back with Mia, held Elena's gaze through the mirror, a silent vow passing between them. I love you, he mouthed, the words a balm amid chaos. But Reyes was faster. A black SUV rammed them from behind, forcing the car into a spin. No crash of metal on purpose, just a controlled push into a ditch, hearts stopping as they skidded to a halt. Doors flew open. Reyes and 2 suited goons approached, guns holstered but threats implicit. Voss, hand over the drive. Ethan's orders. Clean slate. Voss stepped out, hands raised, but her foot tapped a hidden distress beacon. You sold out for what? Money? The Harlans own you now. Elena, Adrian, and Mia emerged warily, the group cornered but unbroken. Reyes smirked. Elena? The heir? Didn't you know? Your father? Not biological? Harlan's your real dad. Affair with your mom, covered up. The inheritance? Yours by blood, laced with the laundering empire. Claim it, or Ethan burns it all. The twist detonated like a supernova, Elena staggering back, world spinning. Heartbreak reached cataclysmic depths, her identity, her lineage, stolen and corrupted. Lies. My mom would never. But flashes hit. Harlan's uncle visits, the way he'd look at her with odd familiarity. Emotional arc plummeted. Abandonment by a mother lost to illness. A father figure revealed as father in sin. Adrian lunged protectively, but Reyes's goons restrained him. Mia gasped. Ethan told me years ago, drunk on power, Harlan bragged about his secret daughter to control the firm. Tears streamed down Elena's face, but fury ignited. Daniel knew? That's why he proposed? To bind me to it? Adrian, struggling, roared, Let her go! She's not yours to break! In the standoff, sirens wailed, Voss's beacon summoning feds untainted by the mole. Reyes faltered, but not before a final play. He tossed a folder at Elena's feet. Birth certificate, see for yourself. She snatched it, scanning the document. Her name, Harlan's as father, mother's signature. Proof. Sobs racked her, but Adrian broke free in the distraction, tackling Reyes to the ground. Grapples ensued, fists clenched but no lethal blows, just desperate holds as the feds swarmed, cuffing the traitors. Voss secured the drive, pulling Elena into a rare hug. It's over. DNA can confirm. But the docs? Forged edges, Ethan's doing to manipulate. Your real dad? The one who raised you? He's innocent. The deathbed recording proves he suspected Harlan's affair, tried to protect you by steering clear. Relief flooded, emotional catharsis washing away the poison. Elena's arc bent toward redemption. Her father's love true, the heir lie a weapon shattered. The hotel suite was a sanctuary, sunlight streaming through curtains as the group decompressed. Daniel's full confession arrived via secure video. Elena, I knew about the affair, Harlan boasted. Proposed to control the heir, but fell for you. The message? To free you. I'm done. Take me down. Heartbreak for Daniel twisted into